The reason we moved down to Port Hope was that we could not get out of Niagara without driving a vehicle.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Public transportation is dreadful. So I had started also to work on buildings here in the 60s, the early 60s, like the St. Lawrence Hotel on the main street and so forth. And so I knew Port Hope pretty well, as much as Niagara on the Lake, and it's a much more scenic town anyway. You know, it's up and down. Niagara's clouds of banking, but also it's on the railway.
Ah, yes.
It's still using a Grand Trunk station
Exactly.
from
yeah.
56, 1856. So you know, I decided to move down to Port Hope, but we've never found a suitable house. We live in a 70-year-old thing where the siding's falling off already.
On another subject, but following your career, Susan Buggy found out that you provided architectural assessments for nominations of National Historic Sites almost single-handedly for a number of years.
Yeah. That was when I was sent around the country on.
What's your memories of that activity?
Interesting things I saw in that. I remember, you know, came across some interesting comparisons, like the almost countrywide use of the elemental French construction of en colombage, which we found in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, heaven knows where. And that was, I found, very interesting, so those connections. And I remember I was in the Red River Valley too. I think the only province I didn't, well, apart from the territories, but Alberta, I never got anything to do in Alberta, but I got British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, of course, in many respects, Quebec.
Newfoundland?
Newfoundland, I hadn't joined by that time. Anyway, I went New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, pretty well everywhere.
Very well,
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't think there was anybody that they felt they could rely on, maybe, to have any opinion at all.
How did you become involved with National Historic Sites Board or Monuments Board?
I think because of Upper Canada Village.
Ah, okay.
You know, it was a natural connection. They were sort of watching that project very closely. And that was an interesting total immersion course, because we went from trying to use modern materials to simulate historic thing. And then I remember after the first episode on that one, we never did it again.
Uh-huh. What would you consider to be your contribution to the idea or the concept and practice of historical restoration at that time?
I think I was always concerned about the standards that were sort of being developed on that. And I remember in our discussions in the States with Peterson and producing that book was on the business of accreditation of practitioners. And I think it was always on the sort of right way to go about it, the right materials to use and so forth. Not necessarily the using modern substitutes. That's what I was always principally against, because we could never get the right effect for one thing, and we very frequently had side effects from them which were dangerous. And that's what we're finding now. I'm going around with this local contractor on churches. We're finding so much damage being done by the use of modern materials and repointing and also the improvements supposedly of buildings' performance with insulation and so forth, but no concern for getting rid of moist air that collects in stagnant places like roof spaces and particularly spires. Absolutely none. I know. We can't understand it. We should have a seminar on that.
Definitely.
When you're going to have ABT talk about spires and attics.
Definitely. I'll make the suggestion, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, we're ready. We're in the wings.
Actually, what was your continuing interest in APT? Why did you follow the organization? What did you think you got from that organization?
Well, it got away from me. I mean, it's grown. The only thing I regret is perhaps that it became perhaps a little too professional. In the early days, it included the little old ladies with running shoes. People like Winnie Enderwick of Perth, Jim Henning for that matter. She couldn't qualify from, the academic standpoint, but she qualified with very much more. She could really handle those things. So there was a tendency to become more and more exclusive. And I didn't think even there was sufficient emphasis on craftsmen, people who actually did it with their hands. And so, to a certain extent, I probably grew away from it. But I haven't really contributed to it.
Actually, you were...
It's almost accidental I was a founder.
You were involved in the creation of the College of Fellows, no?
Yeah, I can't even remember that.
Selective memory, eh? You've pushed that one aside.
Oh, yes, yeah. Obviously, I can't understand why. Because, I was certainly interested.
You were honored recently at the November Awards dinner of the Architectural Conservancy of Ontario, held in Toronto.
Oh, yes, the Eric Arthur Award.
Yeah,
Yeah,
historical
a couple of years
restoration.
ago.
You were given the Eric Arthur Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yes.
And there was a new award named for you.
Yes, that's right.
What's the award about? Do you know?
I don't know. The people who got it were working on the Catholic Church in the Windsor
Yes, St.
area.
Patrick's Roman Catholic Church in
Yes.
Kincorn.
Yes.
Oh. So it's nice to have an award in your name. I guess it must be for excellence in restoration or something.
Yeah. Natalie Bull.
Yes.
She she was APT head for a time.
She was president of APT for 2 years
Yeah.
in recent
Well,
times.
anyway, she came from Lower Woodstock, New Brunswick,
Yeah.
and she has a family house there.
Yes.
And anyway, she always said that she got involved and very concerned with building conservation because she took a summer job in the old courthouse in Upper Woodstock.
Well.
You never
So
know.
you
You never know.
You had some influence.